Ozonics Killerwinds Podcast, back again. Episode 113. I'm Cole Tanner.
I'm Nick Simon.
He's Nick. I'm Cole. I'm Cole. He's Nick. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Let's go now.
Okay, so we're doing the double R today. Rapid Riff Sesh.
Double RS.
Double RS. Rapid
Riff Sesh. We're just
Session.
Just hammer some questions back and forth. If you guys agree, disagree, comment below.
We got some wild card ones in there, like the theme of the podcast, Ozonics, hunting, and everything in between. We're going to talk a lot about all those. I actually just thought of a wild card in between one that has nothing to do with anything, but I think it's a good one to talk about.
Okay.
So we are going to be doing, how would you say this? It's like,
the way I think about it is we're basically just going to be naming number twos.
Well, we're going to name number ones, but then we're also going to name number twos because sometimes the number one is very obvious, but the number two can be like, oh man, that's a thinker there. So we're trying to spur on a little bit here. Let's see where this will go.
Yeah.
Some of this could get a little bit, could get dicey.
Could. See what happens.
Could get a little tricky. Some of the ones I don't think that you'll see what I have coming.
All right. Let's do it.
Okay, you start off right off the bat. You come up with the first one.
Okay, if you couldn't shoot a Matthews bow, what bow would you shoot? If you had to shoot something else.
Yep. See, I think what you think I was going to say, but what I am going to say, I would go back shooting a recurve.
Yep. I actually kind of thought that's what you would say.
Really?
Yeah.
But see, I think if you said more specifically it had to be a compound bow.
Okay.
If it had to be a compound bow, I would probably go shoot a Hoyt.
Yeah.
Which really surprises me because I don't know. I've never shot a Hoyt. I've had friends that shoot Hoyts. So when I used to guide a lot, like in Colorado, got a lot of guys shot Hoyts. We know guys that shoot Hoyts.
Yeah. No.
Guys at Midwest Whitetail shoot Hoyts. They
know
swear
a
by
lot
them.
of people that shoot Hoyts actually.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know. I think that's where I would go.
That's where I would go.
And again, it's not like I'm surprised I'm saying that because they're good or they're bad, or they were bad before or great now. I just think that, I don't know. I think that's where I would go. I think I'd probably try to shoot a Hoyt.
Yeah, I'd definitely shoot a Hoyt too.
Yeah. Part of it is the tradition too, like from way, way back, right? Like Matthews has that type of tradition, and I think there's a lot of tradition there with Hoyt as well. And I shouldn't say that. I've shot a Hoyt recurve, you know what I mean, years ago. So, but yeah, I kind of think I would go for a Hoyt compound.
Yeah, my dad was always a big Hoyt guy back in the day, so I'd definitely for sure shoot a Hoyt.
Part of what I think would be really fun about shooting a Hoyt is the draw, not the draw of the bow physically, but the draw of shooting the aluminum and the carbon.
Yeah, definitely.
And kind of figuring out what you like. Because I feel like I'm so used to an aluminum riser, I think it'd be really interesting for the feel difference on what that would bring.
Yeah.
With having the ability to kind of go either route with that.
Yeah. I've only shot the aluminum one. At the time, it was the VX31, I think, or VTM, I think, actually it was.
Okay.
Nice shooting bow. I didn't mind it. I mean, it wasn't too crazy, but I still like the Matthews better, I think. And that's the funny thing. I think all of this that we're going to be talking about is just preference. It's nothing. Everything is good right now, especially in
I hope it doesn't. We don't want to. I feel like the big thing is we're not trying to have anything come off as like a knock towards anyone.
No.
Like I said, this is just conversation. That's preference.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I mean, look at Scott and Buddy, right? They've shot Hoyts in the past, they've shot Matthews in the past. Yep. They've shot Elites in the past.
Did they shoot a prime ever?
Maybe way back.
Yeah.
But for me, the two that I've seen him kind of go back and forth and shoot, one to the other is a Matthews and an Elite.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then like one of the guys who works at Ozonics, Jeff Bergman, and a lot of his guys, they shoot primes.
Yeah.
They really swear by the prime bow. You know what I mean? And then, like you said, I know guys that are shooting Hoyts. A lot of the Midwest Whitetail guys shooting Hoyts.
Yep.
I know another guy that's shooting a prime bow that really liked it, but then he also shot a prime, and now he's back on a Matthews again. The bow that I feel like I personally don't know many guys shooting is PSEs.
PSEs. Darton.
Bowtech.
Darton. Uncle Adam shoots a Darton.
And then I'm drawing a blank on the name. There's another bow brand that's made in Iowa, actually.
Expedition, maybe?
Expedition, yeah.
Yeah.
And we see the guys at Expedition at the shows.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think that I maybe will try to do this year, like, It's hard because it's always like we're not there to like walk around at the shows.
No.
But sometimes, and in the mornings, it's hard because you don't want to bother guys when they're like trying to clean up and get ready to rock and roll. But when I have like my little lunch break or whatever, when I have a little bit of time to walk around, I really would like to try to go and shoot some bows.
Yeah, an expedition's one that's really good about letting people shoot them.
Yeah, yeah. I would really like to try that.
Yeah.
And just to see. I mean,
I think expedition. I think that bow's really sharp looking. I think.
Yeah,
it's kind of a cool looking bow, but
right. And like you said, I'm 40. You know, I think about bows in the 2000s, early 2000s, in the 90s. You know, and then you think about where it is now. It's just crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And so what I mean by that is like if you shoot any of these brands in the last 5-10 years, and even longer than that, they're good shooting bows.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know.
No doubt. Oh.
So yeah, so like I said, if it had to be right off the cuff, couldn't shoot my Matthews, I would definitely go to back shooting a recurve.
Yeah, for sure.
But if it had to be a compound bow, be a Hoyt.
Yeah, yeah. All right, rip one at me.
Oh, okay. I was going to take a little drink of mine.
No, take a sip. Take a
little sip, but I'm okay.
No, take a sip, man.
Nope. Oh, hey, we got stuff to talk about here. Okay. Okay. This is kind of has to be a multi-parter because I feel like I know your answer right off the bat.
Okay.
If you couldn't hunt whitetails for the rest of your life, what would you hunt?
Turkeys.
Yep. Since I knew that's what you were going to say, if you couldn't hunt whitetails or turkeys the rest of your life, what would you hunt?
I'm between two, and I'm kind of leaning towards. I'm between mule deer and elk, I think.
Really?
Yeah. I think I'm going to do elk.
Yeah, that's what I thought your answer was.
Just because I think it would. I just think it's just kind of off the cuff. It's a little bit different. More adventure. No, I should say more adventure, but I just feel like it could take you to some pretty cool places. So I'd say probably elk. I'm going to stick with elk.
Elk's where you're at.
Yep.
Specifically, probably the Rocky Mountain elk is what you probably would be thinking.
Yes, Rocky Mountain.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of the Shiras elk.
That's not even a thing.
I know. Thule elk.
Yeah. There is a Thule elk. Yep, you're right on track there.
Yep.
You only know that because you've heard me talk about it before.
I've dug way deep.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. That's new. I didn't know that.
Kill them in California and stuff.
Yep, definitely heard that from me too. There you go. What part of California?
Northern.
Okay, you heard that from me too. Oh, no, I'm just razzing you. You're fine. Nope. But yeah, Thule elk will be one of them to kill too, but it would definitely be, yeah, you'd be a lot broader to go after the Rocky Mountain.
Yeah. Okay, what about you? If you couldn't bow hunt white-tailed deer, what would be the one thing you could bow hunt then?
Oh, that's obvious. It's just like you.
Turkeys,
yeah, it would be turkeys.
If you couldn't do both,
Yep.
hit me.
Yep. If I couldn't hunt whitetails and I couldn't hunt turkeys for the rest of my life and I could hunt something else in its place, what would it be? 100% sheep.
Bow hunt?
Well, if it's bow hunting specifically, yeah, that'd be even cooler.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So
yeah.
it's the same answer for both.
Huh?
It's the same answer for both.
What's that?
For bow hunting or just hunting in general, it's still sheep.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking bow hunting. I was just thinking hunting.
Hunting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Just because I've said this before, I feel like for me, I know that there's an expiration date on sheep hunting.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about sheep hunting, and again, like I'm not God's gift to sheep hunting, you know. I've been really fortunate and that I've been able to do a little bit of it now here lately, is the mountains eventually tell you no.
Yeah, exactly.
The mountains eventually say you can't come here anymore.
Yeah.
Right? You can. I feel like the mountains, like you have this relationship with them, and when you're out there, now they're like, okay, they let you in. They're like, okay, you can be here, you can walk around, but eventually they kind of tell you like, hey man, it's time for you to just. You're only allowed to see me from the sky above, looking down. You know,
only
type
touch
thing.
with your eyes.
Yep. It's like at a certain point they kind of tell you have to go, and then there's the next generation. And I feel like I'm still allowed to be out there.
Yeah.
Because eventually everybody ages out. Even the guys that are the most hardcore dudes that physically, mentally, and even especially more mentally have it.
Yeah.
You know, eventually your body starts to give way.
Yeah, exactly.
And eventually you just can't come back.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm still within my window before my expiration date.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually I won't be able to go there. So
Yeah.
sheep hunting is definitely a thing that if I couldn't hunt whitetails, it would definitely be sheep.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
And, if I had to pick a species of sheep, probably Dall sheep, because I just think Alaska is such a cool place, and it's neat to know that it's the United States.
Maybe
Not that there's anything wrong with the Canadas.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just
Probably
something
just a little
about
more opportunity to kind of more widespread a little bit, I'd say.
Yeah, yes
Compared to
and
something
no,
like a
but just
stone.
just there's a lot of stones out there too. But my thing is just they're white and they just stick out like a sore thumb,
Mm-hmm.
and they make no sense while they're there, and you're just like, how did you end up looking like that?
Yeah, no doubt.
And I don't know, there's just something about them that is just magical and mysterious, and
For sure.
yeah, it's just really mesmerizing to me.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was a big answer, but that's where I'm at on that.
Heck yeah. All right, I'm gonna do one that maybe might not involve hunting.
I got some wild cards that I was gonna say.
If hunting wasn't your main hobby, what would it be? What would your number 2 hobby be? I feel like that's a great question. For
my
for
gosh.
right now. That's such a good question. Wow. God, that's a good question. Nice job.
If hunting, yeah, woo. Good job, Nick. Yeah, good question. Good question, Nick. Woo. Good job. Good question.
Thanks.
Made it sound like a heck of an audience there for a second. If hunting wasn't my main hobby, what would my main hobby be? Mm-hmm. See, this taps right into my wild card question.
Okay.
Yeah. So my answer undoubtedly would be dirt track racer.
Okay.
Yep. If we're no regard to anything, definitely 410 sprint car.
Easy.
Yeah.
God, I love a sprint. God, I love a sprint car.
Oh man. So yeah, if I couldn't hunt anymore, and I had all the time of how much that hobby consumed my life, and I had all that time to do something else, it would 100% be dirt track racing. That's not just because it's the summertime. That there are how many times in the late fall, all winter, early spring, do I just go drive by the dirt track and just park there and look at it?
Yeah, man.
How many times a week do I go, man, I could really use a dirt race right now?
I know.
I love dirt track racing.
And the worst thing about it is this. Let me just tell you something here. The worst part about it is we get so fired up for dirt track races, and we go a lot. We really do.
Yes.
I was gonna say, do you think more than the average person?
Yeah. Because the
Even
average
around
person,
here?
the average person doesn't even go to dirt track races. So
What
yeah.
about in this
Yeah,
little
yeah.
nook of Iowa that we're in?
See, and that's what's interesting. Okay, I'm going to say something. We're getting way off the subject here.
Yeah,
okay.
this is
Okay. Here's the thing about dirt track racing. Okay, it's exactly what you just described. You're like, well, you're like, oh, well, what about this nook? Like this area is special when it comes to dirt track racing. But here's the thing. If you drive 250 miles in any direction, there are people having this exact same conversation they think that they're in this nook of utopia of dirt track racing. And that right there is part of what is so awesome about dirt track racing, that you can go anywhere in the country. Sometimes this is really crazy, and I'm really stretching out here to make this correlation, I think, but maybe not. There's a lot more in common with whitetails and dirt track races. There's whitetails all over the place around the country. There's dirt track races all over.
yeah.
You can go anywhere. Man, I would venture to say, this is with no research beforehand, you could go to a dirt track race in every state in the lower 48.
Probably.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Can you hunt whitetails in every state in the lower 48? Just about, huh?
Pretty close. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't know, dude. Dirt track racing and how it just feels like you're in this little. But to get back to your question, I think that, yes, I know I definitely go probably more than the average person, because I go at least
twice a week.
a week.
Yeah.
I probably find somewhere to go twice a week.
The reason I say that is because So I'm on the cusp of going to a really big race.
My goodness.
This weekend. And the reason I asked that is because it's not far from my house in Wisconsin, and I never heard of people going to dirt track races ever.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's a lot like hunting, okay? So much of it. I feel like there's a lot of correlations between golf and hunting. I feel like there's a lot of correlations between hunting and dirt track racing, which is part of the reason I love dirt track racing. But if you're in it, you're in the bubble.
Yeah.
But if you're outside the bubble, you don't even know it exists.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on.
Right. Seriously. There's a lot of truth in that. Like, and I feel that with a lot of my wife's family. They don't hunt.
Yeah.
They look at me and they're like, so you're going to Alaska to do what?
Yeah.
And they're like, and this last weekend I had two people call. They go, you said it's a dull sheep?
A dull?
Like a dull? Like, what is that exactly? And I'm like, no, doll. And they're like, well, why do they call it a doll? And I'm like, thinking a physical doll. And I'm like, no, hold on a second. They have no idea. They're not in it.
Yeah,
They're not in that bubble.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of that in dirt track racing. Were you into dirt track races before you came to Iowa?
Heck no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why you never even knew about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's so fun about dirt track racing too, is like, they're not trying to like push out to like, I mean, they advertise, but they're not like putting it on the radio, and it's not like on the local news or commercials. I'm like, hey, if you want to be into it, you want to come and watch, we're here.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll put the race on for 10 people.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
they ain't making no money.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's the part of it too.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, 100% for me, it would be dirt track racing.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
For me, I'm going to say...
Before you say, I think your answer, I'm torn on what you might say.
Okay.
Because I was thinking you may say if you couldn't hunt anymore and you had to pick another new hobby, I feel like that's a tough one between fishing, golfing, and maybe more like videography stuff. I really don't know what your answer is. Or I think a long shot maybe be dirt track racing.
Yeah, I was thinking fishing. For sure fishing. Fishing's my number 2.
Which you don't do very often.
I know, but I think about it constantly.
Really?
Yeah. I do. I miss those days. It was a lot of fun back when I fished. Like, COVID was my favorite year or so of my life, probably.
I thought you were going to say like natural disaster.
Yeah, COVID was my favorite natural disaster.
COVID's
my favorite pandemic.
Yeah, COVID's my favorite like world-stopping event. I'm so glad that happened.
No, it really was a really fun time because it really made me gain a true love for fishing. I fished so much throughout that time, and it was a super enjoyable time. So, and I think about that time all the time.
I think 60% of the time it works every time.
It was a crazy time. I love that time, and I've been thinking about that time all the time. But
that's a lot of times.
But then, real close number 3 would be golf, and then 4, I think I would say. I don't know if I would say an actual dirt track driver, but I think I would go to a lot more for sure.
Yeah.
And then photo video, I absolutely love that stuff, but since I do that for work, I don't really consider that a hobby, really.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, so 2, fish, 3, golf, 4, become more of a dirt track connoisseur.
Random side note, Nick is a sneaky good golfer.
Don't give me that.
He's going to make that face.
Don't give me that.
But he's a sneaky good golfer. He's got a couple things that he does when he hits the ball. That's kind of funny too. He does this like forward lean before he gets in his backswing. And then sometimes he does, I call it scooping the shovel, where he does this little sawed off follow through where he like holds the club in like this really weird way. It's really funny. But he's a sneaky good golfer. Yep. And that's the other thing we figured out about the difference between Iowa and Wisconsin. In Iowa, we call it 4-man best shot. In Wisconsin, you guys call them scrambles.
Yeah. 4-man, yeah.
But a 4-man best shot there is considered something different.
4-man best shot is where you take your best score out of 4.
Okay, yeah.
So you all play your own ball, and then you just take whoever had the best. Scramble is where you play from the same spot.
Yeah, 4-man best shot in Iowa is where you just play from the same spot.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is what it is.
All right, hit me with one.
Oh, well, that was to lead. We'll just go to my wild card because that leads, we were just talking about it. If you were going to go watch dirt track races.
Okay.
Yep. And you had to pick, you could only watch one style of dirt track races, one car of dirt track, and it can't be sprint cars, and it can't be late models. What would it be?
Midgets.
Really? I did not see that coming. That's an easy answer for me.
Or non-winged sprints.
Non-wing sprints.
Or modifieds.
You can't say all these answers. You can only have one answer.
I know.
You're literally ruining the game.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I've been watching. I haven't seen a non-wing sprint car yet, but I've been watching a lot of them on YouTube, and there's a ton of. It's really funny. There's a ton of guys on TikTok that post a ton about it, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I'd say since there's not a lot. Okay, my one. I
was gonna say.
My one is I'll say modifieds, just because we don't really see non-winged around here.
Yeah, every once in a while they'll come to Mason.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say modifieds because you can find modifieds anywhere.
Yep. Yeah, if I couldn't watch sprint cars and I couldn't watch late models, I would go watch modifieds.
Yeah, they're fun to watch.
Boone Super Nationals, first part of September, if you want to change your life.
Yeah. But man, we've seen some really good stock car races too this year.
It's interesting, and this is again, we're talking about the everything in between here of the podcast.
Yeah.
There are some definite camps in dirt track racing. You know, there's a lot of guys that are pro sprint cars, those are guys that are con sprint cars.
Yeah, not pro fans of them.
Yep. Pro stock car, con stock car.
Yeah.
The argument is, what I keep hearing is sprint cars, they just get in a single file line and that's it. Yes, sometimes it does seem that way until there's a huge slide job.
Yeah, and it's just
until the track loosens
man.
up, until his tires start to go. This is just in the wing, and then all of a sudden the guy goes from fourth to first in like 2 laps. Yeah. That's when it gets exciting.
Yeah.
So, but there is truth in that. There is times that it does get to be kind of a single file, follow the leader.
Yeah, but I feel like that happens kind of everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
That's my argument.
Yeah.
Is guys get all upset about that, and lately, when we've been watching races, it's great when guys don't ruin gear. You know what I mean? And they're not crashing into each other. Crashes are fun to watch, but what's nice when guys are being respectful, and it's good racers that know how to speed up and slow down and know how to avoid.
Good clean racing.
Yep, clean racing. But guess what that turns into? Single follow the leader.
Yeah.
So what guys will say about stock cars is, oh man, there's always just jostling between. Oh man, there's so much to it. It's so much more competitive racing. Yes and no. My thing, it's not about the follow the leader, and it's not about competitive racing. It's not about clean racing or dirty racing. For me, it's about speed.
That's me too.
For me, it's 100. You make a stock car as fast as a 410 Sprint, and
sign me up, man.
Yeah, sign me up. But when you watch a stock car out there, and then 410s come out there, it's a different lap.
Yeah, it is. It's way different.
It's a different lap. You can sit in turn 3. You can sit into turn 1. You can sit on the backstretch. You can be anywhere. And you watch a 410 Sprint, and they come by, and you're like, whoa. You're like, dude, hold on a sec. That was crazy.
Sheer power, man.
Yeah. And I feel like the closest thing I see to that is a late model, a good late model, not just like and here's the thing, you got to start somewhere. So there's nothing against the guys that they're running basically a B mod motor and a late model body.
Yeah.
That's awesome too. Heck yeah. But when you get those awesome, like guys that aren't messing around with late model cars and guys that aren't messing with modifieds.
Yeah, those are fun to watch.
Yep. Now they would say, okay, well that's no different than a stock car, but it just feels different.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. I mean, the build of the car is a lot different, and when they come around that turn and they're 3 wide,
oh man,
yeah, that's fun to watch, man.
Sign me up for some modifieds. I like a good modified, and that's I think kind of where we don't have the ability around here to watch sprints all the time, so modifieds, kind of get to be the ticket.
Yep,
and really. We watch a lot of stock cars.
Yeah.
Watch a lot of B-mods.
Yep, ton of that.
Okay. Let's get back on the ozonics hunting.
Yep.
Ozonics and hunting, and let's get off the in-between.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
So what was your answer? Oh yeah, mini mods. Did not see that coming.
No.
Oh, you switched it.
Midgets.
Midgets, sorry. But then you ended up saying modifieds.
Yeah, modifieds.
Okay. Give me a question.
Okay. Let's do if you couldn't wear camo, what would you wear? Or right now I'd say you probably primarily wear Sitka for whitetail hunting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, safe to say. If you couldn't wear Sitka, what would you wear?
4 whitetails?
4 whitetails. Whitetails, this is a whitetail specific question.
Yeah. That's a tough one for me because I feel like it's not about the camo pattern for me. As a younger person, it definitely was. And I still do enjoy how it looks. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And some of you listening will be like, well, you wear what you wear now because you like the way that looks. Yeah. It's like, okay, maybe there's truth in that. But I feel like for me, it's more about the material. That's really what it boils down to for me. Mm-hmm. You know, it's less about like the look and more about the function. Yeah. And that's why Sitka fits the bill. Yeah. It fits the bill from functionality and I like the material and it keeps me warm. Yeah. That's the other big thing that's why I asked specifically about whitetails. Yeah. If I couldn't wear Sitka, I would wear Code of Silence. Yeah. For whitetails. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like after that, man, it gets hard to start staying warm. Now, again, I've never tried any of the Kuiu Proximity. I think that's their whitetail line. I've never tried any of that stuff. Yeah. I have worn some of the First Light, like the Sanctuary 2.0. I have a set of that.
Really heavy stuff.
Really, it's heavy and it's a bit bulky. Yeah, that can be said about my experience with some of the Code of Silence stuff. It's a bit bulky too. Mm-hmm. But I really like the Code of Silence. I like how quiet it is. I like the material and I like the warmth. Yeah. So if it couldn't be Sitka, it would probably be Code of Silence. But I'm going to add on to that question. If it was just you couldn't wear camo, what would you wear? I would 100% wear some sort of synthetic material. I've really gone away from merino wool. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm wearing a lot of Stone Glacier. Yep. A lot of Stone Glacier. I mean, I have a lot of Stone Glacier. Yeah. I like their synthetic base mid layers. And I like its form and I like the functionality, like the material. I'm not the skinniest guy in the world. And I really like it. Yeah. I don't wear as much Kuiu as I used to. Yeah. Really hardly at all. Right. Nothing. That's just for the fact that I don't know. I just really like the Stone Glacier stuff. I like the synthetic materials and Kuiu has synthetic materials too. Yeah. But I don't know. It feels like when I'm doing some of the stuff that I do, it just, I like the synthetic. It dries really fast. It all ends up smelling bad if you don't wash it long enough. Yeah. But I just really like that. I like synthetic materials and I really like the Stone Glacier stuff. Yeah. So that's where I'm at on that. Nice. Long answer. Yep. What about you? For whitetails, if you couldn't wear Sitka camo, because you're in the same boat.
Yeah. I kind of still got a little bit of a mix going, but that's all right. I'm going to throw a big curveball out here. I don't think you're going to know.
Probably not.
I think I would switch to mossy oak bottomland, baby.
Oh, really?
Just take me back to my roots, man.
When I used to wear that when I was a lot younger, I used to wear mossy oak bottomlands. Oh, bottomlands, like the old school camo. Yeah. I was just thinking like just regular mossy oak because I feel like that kind of, when I used to see that, it would look like a black blob up there. It's kind of dark.
Just like that timber kind of look, bark look. Ooh, I like that stuff. I think it looks cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that does look really good. That does look really sharp. This is kind of a two-parter. Okay. Well, I feel like I already know this. I know your answer, so you're going to have to come up with another answer. Okay. When it comes to your scent control regimen, if you couldn't use ozonics, what would you do? But the other thing you can do, you can only do one thing of the plethora of options. Okay. You follow me? Okay. There's only really like one thing of those other options that you can do, but you can't use ozonics on anything. Ozonics, imagine if it didn't exist. Okay. What would you do?
Okay. So my 1A, my 1-1 would be nothing.
See, that's where my answer too is because that's what it was for me before.
Yep, it would be nothing.
I did it all, and none of it worked, so I just stopped doing all of it.
Yep, it would be absolutely nothing. I would.
But you have to pick one though.
Nope, I will. But I want to explain this my answer first. I think kind of the slept on amazing things about ozonics is if it was deer season right now and we finished all of our work at work and we're like, let's go hunting, guess what? We can just go.
We would just go.
We don't got to worry about nothing. We don't got to worry about, oh, is my clothes dry? Is it hanging out on the clothesline? Is it in the dryer? Nope, it's in the truck, ready to rock 100% of the time because we got the ozonics. And that is something that in the last, whenever I started using it, it would be 4 years ago now, 3 years ago?
3 years ago.
Yeah, whenever it was. That has been an absolute game changer for me.
I think it was interesting to watch it as it happened because I would be here and it would be like, okay, let's go home, time to go. And I'd be like, I'm going to go out this afternoon. And you're like, oh, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. You don't have your stuff with you. Well, I do. Yeah, but you didn't. Yeah. You didn't do all the this and that beforehand. Like, so don't. How are you gonna have time for that? I'm like, I don't do any of that.
Yeah.
You're like, exactly. Well, what do you mean?
It
was funny. You just like to see you have to like, kind of have that realization, and then see it go out there, and then have deer on the downwind side, and be like, okay, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it opens the door to so much.
Yeah.
So with that being said, if I were to not use it, I really like being able to do that. So I would still not do anything for clothes. I wouldn't do the showers, but I would just bring some sort of a cover scent.
Oh,
just a cover scent. I don't know if that would be, I don't know which one really, just because I'm so out of that game now. I don't know what even there really is. I mean, I don't know if they still make the old buck bomb.
I'm sure they do.
Back in the day, my dad was so into that.
Oh, yeah?
We'd go out there.
I had a couple buddies that were into Nose Jammer, man. They used to, they would spray.
Buck Bomb and Nose Jammer.
Have like cases of it.
Buck Bomb and Nose Jammer were the two things that Dad always had. And the Buck Bomb was funny because I can't remember how it was. You hit some button and you set it up there.
And sprayed out forever.
It just sprays out for 2 minutes or whatever. But he would always be using that. So yeah, if I had to pick something, I still wouldn't do anything with my clothes. I wouldn't spray down. I would just do some sort of a cover scent.
Yeah. If it were me and I couldn't use ozonics like Nick, I wouldn't use anything because that was what I did before. Mm-hmm. But if I had to pick something, I would say for me it would be trying to do like unscented showers.
Yeah.
Just using unscented laundry detergent, deodorant, stuff that's like touching my body.
Yeah.
That's what I would do because I would, like even now, like I'm careful with my clothes, right? I go in really light. I don't wear a lot of my stuff in to try to not get sweated up.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't change. You know what I mean? And, I get lucky because we use a lot of unscented, can't say the word, like laundry detergent, soaps and stuff like that already because the kids are really sensitive with their skin. Mm-hmm. So we buy a lot of that already.
Yeah.
So I feel like I get maybe a little bit of a head start in that regard but even with that said, if I was using scented detergents, I would still do the shower thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because I feel like that's a great starting point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we've talked about before, scent control, it's all these variables. Mm-hmm. There's so many variables. It's insane. And so I feel like, is that a variable that you can control? No.
Yeah.
None of it is. That's why you need something actively, like what we're talking about with ozonics. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole for this part of the conversation. But like you said, for me, I feel like there's so many variables. The thing that I would try to start with is me, my human body.
Yeah.
And so that's where for me it would be shampoos, soaps, in the shower, just trying to do that type of thing.
Yeah.
To try to do what I could to just, do what I could.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yep. All right, next question.
If you could never hunt Iowa again for whitetails.
Ooh, this is a good one.
What state would you pick?
For whitetails?
For whitetails.
If I couldn't hunt Iowa, but I could hunt another state?
Yep, you have to pick another state that you have to hunt in. Essentially, you have to move your entire family there.
Oh.
Just so you can be a resident out there constantly.
You're like really making this big. And you have
to pick up shop, man.
You have to ride a tornado when you get there. No. Man, that moving the kids part, that puts a whole nother layer into it because now I'm thinking, I'm not just thinking about.
Makes it easier.
How is that making it
Makes
easier?
It 10 times easier.
I don't think it makes it easier at all because if I was going to move just for whitetails, I would probably move to Illinois.
Really?
And dude, you go and drive into Illinois. You drive into the southern half of Illinois, and you tell me that doesn't look like whitetail capital of the world. I don't know, man. That doesn't mean that like there's not a lot of people that are hunting there and everything else. But if you go there just objectively and look at it, you're like, okay, this looks really good. It looks really good. But I don't think I want to live in the state of Illinois. You know what I'm saying? So that's not my answer. But I'm saying if I have to pick up shop and move my family, geez, that really changes it. God, that's a tough one.
It's so easy, actually. It's so easy.
Go ahead.
Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh.
No question. Great place to live.
No.
Yes. That's where that's my one.
Yeah, there's 3 words to that. Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers.
We're just going to hunt. We're not going to be a sports fan.
You said that you got to move your family, you got to pick up shop. I am not
You
going to.
can still be a Vikings fan.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that live in Wisconsin.
Live in the enemy
fan.
territory. Not happening. Wisconsin is way down the list. Way down the list. If you had to say where would be the last place you would want to live?
Oh, no way. That is a hot take.
Hey.
Wisconsin's your 50.
Hey. Green Bay Packers are in Wisconsin. Are they there? Are they?
Yeah, but
That's
not
what I
every
thought.
Sunday.
Yeah. Last time I checked, the Lambeau Field's there all year round. Last time I checked, Green Bay Packers are there all year round. I'm a Vikes fan through and through, man. Can't do it.
Crazy.
Just saying. No, I'm just kidding. That's not nice. I have nothing against Wisconsinians. Is that what you guys say up there?
Wisconsinite.
Wisconsinites. Sorry. I don't have anything against Wisconsinites. It's just I'm not a Packers fan. I don't think I could do it.
Okay, so realistically, where do you think that ranks?
Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
There's no way it's 50.
No.
Yeah.
Golly, just relax. Golly, it's like you were going to have an aneurysm over there because I said Wisconsin was that far down the list. Oh, man, that's a tough one. See, again, if it's just I couldn't hunt whitetails in Iowa, but I had them on them in another state, for me, I think that would be Illinois.
Okay.
But
Illinois.
If it was moving my family,
that was kind of a stretch.
I was going to say
for the part of the answer or question. We can amend that.
Oh.
Okay, so mine would be Wisconsin. Number 2 probably be Kansas. Number 3 probably Illinois. Number 4 probably Missouri.
See, man, that's a tough one. If I had to move my family, man, I don't know. I don't even know what I would say to that because there's a lot of them that are in the mix. And honestly, as much as I was just razzing, Wisconsin will be up there because as much as I do completely despise the Green Bay Packers in every way, I think they should change the name of the Super Bowl trophy. I'm just saying.
Hey, man. Legendary stuff up there.
Yeah, okay. Wisconsin is a nice place, and there's good people there. I mean, Nick, not so much, but everybody else. The rolls that are up there, they're all real nice.
Rollville, baby.
Yeah, the Rollville is a good place. That's a good Americana place. So Wisconsin would be up there. I'm going to throw a kind of wild card in there. I would really look at Ohio.
Oh, yeah, Ohio for sure,
Southern half of Ohio.
Yeah, if you're talking just straight deer, Ohio might be a bit, not even really a sleeper anymore. I think it's just that good.
Well, and the other thing about that too is like Southern Ohio, you could be a Cincinnati Bengals fan. You could be an Ohio State fan.
Yuck.
Hey, you got to stick with the Big Ten, man. So I think Ohio's
a good one. Yep.
I would actually, the thing I think would be really fun about Kansas is you could hunt whitetails and mule deer.
Yep.
If you get in the eastern side of Kansas, you're in whitetail Mecca. Mm-hmm. But if you really, really go way, way out west, you get out in that way out in the hills, and there's some mule deer out there
for sure.
That would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But I actually think I have a more of a specific answer for that now that I'm thinking of it.
Okay.
I don't know why I didn't think of this.
Okay.
Seriously, if I could hunt whitetails, and I don't think you see this coming at all, I think I would say Montana.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I was literally I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Because that is a
Milk River, man.
Yep. Well, not only that, just there's a lot of just get the river bottoms of Montana, and there's whitetails there, and there's good whitetails there, and a lot of people in the Midwest wouldn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Your brain instantly thinks east.
Yep.
Or right near where we are. But and the other part about that too is it would be just a really, really fun place to raise the kids.
You can hunt elk.
You could hunt elk. Fish. You could hunt antelope. You could fish. You
Bison.
can go look at either sheep there. You're just a stone's throw away from Yellowstone.
Yep.
Bozeman, all of that in Montana. There's great fishing in Montana.
Yep.
Montana in general. So yeah, Montana, if I couldn't hunt whitetails, but it was whitetails in another state, Montana, not only just because if you're throwing the curveball of the family in there, then it would be Montana.
Yeah.
Man, Montana might be my answer for both. I'm changing it.
Okay.
Oh, Illinois is right there though, because that's there's some big deer there. There's probably bigger deer there. So man, that's a tough one. But family part, definitely Montana. Long answer, short question. My bad. And this may just be your first answer, because I don't know if this question's been posed. Maybe it has. We'd have to look back. If you could only hunt whitetails one part of the day for the rest of your life, and that was it, this is the part of the day you got, what part of the day would that be?
So are we talking sun up to noon, from noon to sundown?
Well, I was thinking we break it up a little bit more. I was thinking morning, midday, or afternoon.
Ooh, that's a really tough one.
So basically you're talking like sunrise. Let's just say it's the longer parts of the year.
Yeah.
Let's say it's sunrise till like 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, or 2 o'clock till dark.
Oh, man, that's a really tough one, because right away I want to say morning, but I feel like 10 to 2 is probably the smart pick.
It's not about the smart pick. It's about what you would do, which definitely means it's going to be a dumb answer. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, that's a tough one.
You know what? I think I'm just going to stick with it. I'm going to say morning, because I tell you what, I want everybody to listen to me here.
Uh-oh.
There are few things better than being in a tree stand when you see the sun come up. That's one of my favorite parts about hunting. So that's it. Mornings.
So I will add on to that. I think you're right on track there. I like the idea of the sun coming up, because it is beautiful when you're just out there.
Oh.
And there's something to be said about just like when that sun just peeks over and you see the day start, and it's crazy how you can go out hunting and you can get it feels like a whole day activity in before a lot of people have even like rolled out of bed.
Oh yeah. Heck, you could have one down.
Yeah.
Before people are up.
Yep. But oh man, this is crazy. I'm going to go a little bit of a stretch on this one. I'm going to say 10 to 2.
Yeah, that's.
And here's why. Because the sunrises are beautiful. They are. It's so pretty in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes though, and I'm thinking of like a lot of different things here. I'll give you my train of thought here. You're right. Mornings are pretty, and it would be fun to see the sun come up and everything else. But sometimes I think getting in the mornings can be tricky.
Yep.
Right? You're bumping deer, you're walking in early. That's tricky.
Yep.
Okay. Logistically, kill a deer in the morning. That can be nice, right? Can also be tricky because it can be the heat of the day, and then all of a sudden you're kind of in a pickle. Maybe you got stuff to do the rest of the day. So mornings can have their logistical challenges.
Yep.
Okay. Also, sometimes I feel like you can do more harm than good in the mornings.
Yep.
Okay. Now let's go late in the day. Okay. Late in the day is pretty awesome. Easier to get in, right? Sneak in a bit easier, but it can be harder to get out of there. Mm-hmm. Logistically, shooting a deer late in the day, tracking in the dark, that's not that fun. Mm-hmm. The mornings is kind of handy because you can see everything.
Yeah.
Late in the day can be a little bit tricky, right? The dark can be tricky. It can be tricky for the fact that you got a light shining around. Maybe somebody sees you from the road. What's going on out there? That type of a thing. Shooting in low light kind of sucks. Mm-hmm. That's an afternoon reality.
Yeah.
Nice thing about the afternoons though is if there's a hunt that you can do throughout the year that you're going to probably see animals. If you said morning or afternoon, I would say afternoon. You know, like you're not like, you know, hunting mornings early, that can be a little tricky. You can put a lot of pressure on deer unintentionally, but you can hunt afternoons and slip in, you know, and maybe just get lucky. Yeah. So I really like afternoons. And I really think the sunset's a beautiful thing too.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep. There's something about that. And as much as the woods come alive in the morning, they kind of come alive at night too.
Yeah.
But my answer is midday.
Okay.
Now I'll say midday, I can't hunt near as much good midday hunts as the evening for sure. And it's probably even less good midday hunts than morning hunts.
Yeah.
But if there's one thing that happens that's magical about the Midwest and about whitetails is midday hunts in November.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden that huge buck that you keep playing cat and mouse with in the morning, right? And he walks out just after shooting light in the evening, guess what he does in mid-November? He walks around like a zombie for a bit, midday, and I love that. So if I had to pick ones, I think seeing a big deer on their feet midday, that is a handful of days a year when he does something that is completely outside of his instinctive direction that he would normally go.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he goes, I'm putting all that to the wind. You know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to cruise around during the middle of the day. It's like a vampire standing in the sunlight. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, I just think that's so cool. So I'm going to say midday. If what I just said ain't a micro clip, I don't know what is.
So let me ask a logistical question then.
Got it. Fine. Go.
So logistically then, I mean, you would take a lot of your season and you wouldn't be hunting.
That's right.
I think you would struggle with that.
Yep. I know. No, I know. But if you're sitting here and we're playing this hypothetical game, I can give hypothetical answers. I'm going to say midday because it's awesome seeing them on their feet. It's a great way to kill a big deer. I've told the story before. I will never forget when I was playing cat and mouse with this big, nice, mature 10, just a big, heavy 10-pointer. He had lots of junk around his bases and his brows, big, heavy brows, and I could not track him down. This is pre-cell cam. This is a long time ago where I'd have to check my cams as I walked in and out, and I could not put it together with him.
Yeah.
You know, I would get in there early in the morning. I'd be out there in the nighttime waiting in a stand.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd be out there early, like, or late afternoon, getting ready for an afternoon hunt. And he would just skirt me. Mm-hmm. And the whole season, all of October into first part of November was like that. And I just was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do all day sits. And I had done that before, but I'm like, I'm really putting it in here. Mm-hmm. This is pre-cell phones. This is when I used to carry a AM/FM battery-powered radio with not earplugs. When you they used to have headsets like these. That's what I had.
Yeah.
And here I'm sitting there middle of the day. It was on a Saturday. I'm eating a ham and cheese sandwich. I literally got a ham and cheese sandwich in my hand. I got the FM radio on my knee. I'm listening to an Iowa Hawkeye game. And I look up, and there's that buck standing right there. Walks out to this edge and is just ripping up this scrape, just ripping it up. And I just was throwing everything. I'm like, you know, and I grunted at him, and he turned and walked right to me. So yeah, I love that idea. I love that midday magic. Sign me up. And I understand it would definitely limit how much hunting you're doing because it's, you know, midday in October. That seems kind of, well, it's just like what happens when you go out there and you sneak in midday.
Yeah.
You don't see anything.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, like when it gets to be the rut and it gets to be all of a sudden when they're chasing and then it's just any time of the rut, that midday can get really good.
Yeah. No doubt.
Sign me up for that.
Yep.
Okay. Let's go a little off the wall. Okay. We're going to go an unrelated topic.
Okay. That
next hypothetical. Or next, what were we calling the riff something?
Double RS.
Yeah, what was that? Riff.
Random riff session.
Yeah. There's something else to that.
Yeah. I can't remember.
I don't either. All right, next one. Favorite holiday, then your second favorite holiday.
So I name my number one and then name my number two.
Yep. Or actually, I'm going to say this again. If you can't celebrate your favorite holiday for the rest of your life, you have to pick your second favorite holiday to celebrate. What would that be?
Okay, well, my favorite holiday is by far, without a doubt, July 4th.
Me too.
So
Me too. I love 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. I love the 4th of July. It's the best holiday.
So
Can I say something? You know why it's the best holiday? And I'm going to interrupt you. I don't care. Best holiday because if there's one time a year when we can all agree on something,
it's that 4th of July is awesome.
as a country, like as all of us with all these differing opinions on everything in the entire world, it's the 4th of July.
Yeah.
We can all be proud to be Americans. There's something to be said about that. I'm a 4th of July guy. Everybody's usually in a good mood. Everybody's happy. You can't beat exploding stuff, blowing stuff up, fireworks.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
You could be 99 years old or you could be 9 years old. Fireworks are the best.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree.
Especially when you can hold like a Roman candle and just light them off. It's awesome. I love 4th of July. I'm not saying do anything dangerous, but it is fun to light off some Roman candles every once in a while. Okay. Go for it.
Okay. So
Second, you can't celebrate 4th of July.
nope. Well, then my number two, I think I'm just going to, I was going to say Thanksgiving, but I think I'm going to say Christmas.
Really?
Because now I got nieces. I got a nephew that's coming any minute. A nephew's
you
coming.
got a nephew. You called him a niece.
But I have a niece too. I said I have a niece and a nephew coming in.
Oh, I thought you said you had a niece and you got a niece coming.
No, I have a niece, but I have a nephew that's going to be coming in this world literally.
Probably by the time this pod airs.
I'm waiting for a call. And I just think that's a really fun time of year to spend time with family, and giving gifts to those little choppers is super fun, and they're running around, and I really like that time of year. And it's fun.
Yep. So I'm going to agree with you, which if my wife listened to the podcast, which she doesn't.
Wow, Tatum.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for being supportive. No, I'm just kidding. She gets mad at me because my least favorite holiday is Christmas. Yeah. But I don't like it because I didn't really enjoy Christmas as a kid.
Yeah.
But then she always razzes me because she's like, we've spent more time together than you spent Christmases as a kid, which is true.
Yep.
So with that being said, I like it for the same reason you do. It's the favorite holiday for everybody except for me.
Yeah.
So then I think that I'd have to say Christmas because I enjoy that everybody else enjoys it.
Yep. Having a good time.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll say Christmas.
Yeah. But years before being an uncle, I would probably say Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving's a good time to
I
build
just like Thanksgiving because
seeing family.
Seeing family, and it was just every single Thanksgiving growing up. I just knew that was me and Dad are going hunting in the morning before anything else.
Yep.
Come home, Mom and the sisters are watching the Macy's Day Parade. We have great breakfast, and we go hang out with family the rest of the day. And it was just really fun because you just knew what was going on.
I like it.
We both shoot and love black gold sights.
I don't know the answer to this.
Give me one that you would shoot.
After a black gold?
After a black gold.
I would shoot a recurve. Done. Hot. Answer. No, that's a terrible answer. Man, I don't know. I honestly don't know that answer. And I don't know the answer to that. That's a really tough one. I'd have to really do some research. I feel like that's an answer that I'm not prepared to give you.
Okay.
I think that you know what you would do.
Yeah, I think I do.
But I don't know. I really don't know because, man, I just love my black gold so much. I love it. I love the functionality. I love the brightness of the pins.
Built well.
Gosh, it's built really well. They're really great to work with.
Yep.
Everything about them really checks all the boxes for me.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock against anybody else because I'm sure, and I've shot spot hogs in the past and they were great to work with too, and go down the list. But I don't know after that. Golly, from there, it's really tricky for me. Mm-hmm. I feel like I don't know as much as I should about other sites. It's kind of like I feel like if it's not broke, why fix it? I like what I have.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just don't know what's out there that's been put out recently.
Yeah.
But I think the one that I would probably naturally gravitate towards would be the dialed sights.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that Jason Mears shoots one and he absolutely swears by it.
Yeah, exactly.
He really, really likes it.
Mm-hmm.
And talking to him about that, that's one that I would probably initially start to go towards.
And I think a big reason for that, which I would say dialed too, and before switching to a single pin, I think I would have said spot hog. The reason I'm thinking dialed is because, so when I switched to that single pin, we talked about this 2 episodes ago, maybe last episode, I can't remember. No, it was last episode. Anyways, I lost a lot of yardage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with dialed, with their angled sight roller or whatever, it basically makes so you can shoot farther, and so you don't lose it in a situation like a single pin. And so I think I would try that, see how that kind of technology works, how it's all kind of set up. I think it would be really interesting to try. And if you can gain, 40 yards or something like that, then that would be pretty cool, because then you could still shoot a single pin out to long distances, which like we said, you don't need to. You don't need to be able to do that, but it's just flat out fun to do it.
For the type of hunting that we're doing, you don't need to shoot 100 yards. Like, that's just not applicable.
No, but
especially in most whitetail woods, that's not very applicable.
Yeah, but it's just a lot of fun to go fling some
far.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
So I think I would try that. I think I would try the dialed.
Yep. Okay, here's one for you. If you couldn't hunt whitetails out of a tree stand the rest of your life, what tactic and or how would you hunt whitetails thereafter?
So I'm assuming saddle falls into tree stand.
Yep. Basically hunting off the ground. And that would also include ground blinds off the ground, I think. So you can't basically hunt elevated. I said tree stands, but I'm just saying off all of that. What would it be?
Just your simple everyday ground and pound. Find a spot, sit on the ground, maybe brush in something, do that. And then once I get more experience, then still hunting probably. Working through an area, like you said, midday. Sneak in there, done. Or just probably though, just regular, just ground pound. Just sitting on the ground, just waiting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know my answer to that, just because I feel like hunting out of a stand is so effective.
Yeah, definitely.
That it feels like all other things take your chances down. Yeah. And that's why we all hunt out of tree stands and hunt elevated, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would probably be right there with you. I would probably just sit on the ground and tuck in.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of a hypothetical, just that's interesting to think about. Imagine if you hunted with a decoy all year round. Like, you had access to a doe decoy and a buck decoy. You could turn the buck into making him look bigger or smaller.
Yeah.
And you had a doe or a bedded doe. You had any decoy plethora, not a decoy on your bow, but a decoy out in front of you.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting to think about, sitting on the ground hunting with a decoy all year round.
It would be.
I wonder what that would do all year round.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting.
And how that would change things.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'd be crazy. Yeah.
Like how you could sit on the ground and then set up a decoy, and how that would affect the movement and how a deer reacted to being on the ground.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because if you're on the ground, we're still rattling and grunting and doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Man, you feel like he's going to point you even harder on that, in that regard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, your wind gets to be even trickier on the ground. You're not putting anything over top of them. So I feel like a decoy in those situations, giving them something to look at to kind of distract them, or maybe change the behavior of how they come in, could be really interesting.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Yep.
Because you don't, that's just kind of something that, we hunt with a decoy, but you don't hunt with them every day of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine if you hunt with it every time.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Sure, you'd learn a lot.
Yeah, it'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
All right, another podcast in the books. Thanks for listening. Hypothetical answers on the riff sesh. Done.
Thanks for listening, guys. Be safe out there. Shoot your bow. Be safe.
Stay classy.
See you next week.